to the second reading this semester as part of the Louisiana Review Reading Series here at Cafe Mosaic. This is, as I've been told here, this is our 4th year. It's hard to believe, Cafe Mosaic, and so first of all, we'd like to offer a big thanks, and maybe you can applaud to do so, to Nathaniel for hosting us this whole time. Wherever he is, there he is. There he is. Thanks again. Thank you. All right, I'm going to pass a couple of things around. First of all, if you are interested in reading in the open mic, which of course we will have after a break, after Ken reads, please sign up on this sheet right here. If you're going to play music, there's a special slot for you as well. So I'm going to go ahead and hand this off to you. Oh, well, no, he's really warming it, so I'm going to pass it over there. So if you don't want to do anything, please pass it around. Make sure it makes the rounds. If you want to sign up, go ahead and sign up. And if you think that you're going to get away with not being the first person to read because you're going to sign line number 3, you'll wind up being the first person to read because somebody will sign line 4 below you. All right, here is a little fun thing that we do. If you haven't been here before, it's a little, something we do. It's a line poem. Basically, I'm going to ask for a line, just a line, and in a moment here, and then what I'm going to do is write it down here, and I'm going to pass this around, and each one of you will take a turn writing the next line, and at the end, we'll have a poem. The entire group will have written a poem, and I'll read it at the very end of the evening. So, can I get a line from someone? It can be anything.
Who let the dogs out?
Who let the dogs out? Really? You go back to the 90s? Okay. Okay. Who let the dogs out? Let me write this down. Hold on just a second.
Thank you, Brennan.
Question. Okay. Okay. There we go. You're not so enthusiastic about this one here. All right. Let's see. Is there any other business that we can handle? I don't think so. So, well, then I would like to introduce to you our featured reader for the evening, Kenneth Wheaton, who is the author of the first annual Grand Prairie Rabbit Festival. Kenneth was born and raised in Opelousas. He graduated from Opelousas Catholic in '91. He went to Long Island University in New York, came back, and earned his master's degree in creative writing at USL. Oh, so I see you refused to call it UL. Still, okay, well then you know.
That was the last class.
That's, hey, when I went there it was USL too, so I completely understand. He is currently the managing editor of Advertising Age magazine in New York City. Lives in Brooklyn, right? Okay, so at any rate, Kenneth, sorry, that's a terrible introduction, but please welcome Kenneth Wheaton, please.
Thanks for the introduction. Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Feels like I'm teaching again. If the cute baby in the back cries, don't shush him, he's one of my people. So yeah, I'm not going to take too much time because I know some people want to get up here and do some open micing. What I'm going to read is from my book, The First Annual Grand Prairie Rabbit Festival, and I guess I should set it up a little bit because probably not all of you have read it, but it is for sale at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and other fine bookstores around the country. The book is about a priest. What was it? The book is about a priest named Father Steve Sabille in Grand Prairie. It's all fiction, it's all lies, it has no reflection on reality. I just want to emphasize that at the start. The setup is he's just moved out there, it's his first job as a priest, he's getting a little bored, and he's getting paranoid. He's a Catholic priest, he's getting paranoid about Pentecostals who's moved into his town, and he's worried they're going to take his flock. So what we're dealing with here is he's going to an old folks home to talk to this old woman who used to help take care of his grandmother, and she's going to set him straight. I head over to Easy Time to let Miss Rita have a go at me. Of course, that means I have to bring offerings. Whatever Jesus may have thought about pork, Miss Rita is a big fan of the pig and all of its parts. Everything but the oink is her summation of the edible nature of the animal. And I'd eat that too, if they found a way to cook it, she said. Sadly, the only pork that finds its way onto the menu at Easy Time Nursing Home are the tiny flecks of pink they sprinkle into the split pea soup. In her first years at Easy Time, Daddy would sneak in pork every once in a while. The baton then fell to me. When I went off to seminary, it fell to Teddy, Miss Rita's favorite grandson, but Teddy was sloppy and got busted by the attendees at the front desk. Happily, Miss Rita has found another supplier, one who takes the time to double wrap the pork, once in foil, once in plastic. One who then puts the now less odoriferous offering into a sealable plastic container, which then goes into that official-looking black leather satchel of mine. The white collar helps as well. I walk past the front desk, which has sprouted a crop of little Christmas trees, and offers today's receptionist my best smile. She waves me on. I stop outside Miss Rita's door and put my ear to it. I can hear her cackling with laughter to some comedian on television. But in the time it takes me to push the door open, she's dropped her chin to her chest and gone into one of her fake stupors. Today she's wearing a shirt that reads, "Hi, hater." I don't know what it means, and I'm certainly not going to ask. It's just me, I say, and I still don't understand why you do that. Because if it's one of them attendees I don't like them walking in here and wanting to talk to me. If they're going to treat me like a baby half the time, I might as well act like a baby. Besides, bad enough I have to entertain you today. Go on, I say. You keep that up and I'm not going to share. She locks her eyes on me. Don't even play around with me, boy. I might have one leg, but one's enough to kick your ass. I never get tired of that line. Yeah, go ahead and laugh, she says, smiling now, her eyes bright with anticipation. As I reach into my bag, she wheels over to her secret stash and produces her bottle of Crown Royal. Get in low, she says. Don't forget next time. What about Teddy? I ask, as I remove the hunk of pork shoulder from the container. Teddy? Ha, Teddy don't drink. He doesn't approve of it. Don't know where he picked that up. That boy's lucky he's family, because otherwise I wouldn't let his little butt in here. The pork, tender enough to break apart with a plastic fork, is still warm. I put it on a paper plate and produce 2 smaller plastic containers. One full of rice and gravy, the other full of black-eyed peas. Oh my, oh my, oh my, she says, fanning her face. Her eyes well up with tears. You know what they fed me last night? Steamed chicken with steamed broccoli. Chicken breast. She spits the word out as if they were bits of offending food. White meat. I get the food plated, put the plate on a tray, and just as I'm sliding the tray into the arms of Miss Rita's wheelchair, the door pops open. I freeze. Miss Rita, who's just raised the bottle of Crown Royal to her lips, freezes as well. Her eyes grown big for a split second, but just as quickly she swallows a whiskey, wipes her mouth, and hisses. Tamika, get in here and close that door. I stand slowly and turn around to find a petite black woman. She might be 5 feet tall if she wore heels, dressed in the white uniform of the attendees. Great, I'm busted. Miss Rita, she stage whispers, and Father, shame on you, getting this old lady drunk. Don't pay her any mind, Steve, Miss Rita says. She just come in here to snoop. But her usually blustery tone slips a little. You're not going to tell on me, are you, Tamika? She asks, suddenly serious. I should, Tamika says, looking at me. But I don't like that old cow supervising today. Maybe you made it, because besides, you made it this far in life. I don't see how it's going to matter now what you eat and drink. Amen to that, Miss Rita says, raising the bottle and taking a swig. Steve, this is Tamika. Tamika, this is Steve. I offer her my hand. Hers is cool and dry and small in mine. Nice to meet you, I say, casting a glance at Miss Rita, who's watching us both intently. Well, I best be seeing about my rounds, Tamika says, and just as quickly as she'd come, she's gone. As the door closes shut, Miss Rita suddenly becomes very fascinated with her food and won't look up. Still, I can see the prankster's smile on her face. Really, Miss Rita, you have to give up on this foolishness about me getting a woman. I don't know what you're talking about, she says. Without looking up, she adds, but I hear Tamika has a thing for white boys, especially ones in uniform. Just stop it, you're wasting your time. All I got is time, she says. Might as well use it to help you. I appreciate it, but I don't need your help. Nope, you need a woman. I look at her, she looks at me. It's been playful so far, but she's gauging me to see if she can keep pushing it. Forget you, she says finally. Just keep bringing me my little presents and I'll quit meddling. That's so nice of you, Miss Rita, I say, but we both know that's not true. She looks up at me, somehow managing to smile while gumming a huge mouthful of pork. You're right about that, she says, but do us both a favor. What's that? Hang around some people your own age. All this time with little old ladies, the rest of it sitting alone out there in the woods, that can't be good for you. That's the path I've chosen for myself, I say. Well, you better find another one before you end up someplace bad. I'm telling you, go find some friends your own age. Now let me eat my food in peace, she adds, before turning her full attention to the pork. To signal that she's done eating and ready to get back to minding my business, she speaks again. I wonder what them little old white ladies would think. They knew their prize pork was going to some old black lady. I'm sure my parishioners wouldn't mind at all. There's not a racist bone between them. Well, yeah, ain't that nice? How many black people y'all got back there in Grand Prairie? I don't say anything. And how many you got in Opelousas? About 10,000? And in Tiny Plaisance? About 650 out of the 700 people live there? And Grand Prairie? Not a damn one. Well, I live around here a lot longer than you. Don't be fooled just because it looks all hunky-dory back there. Miss Rita, I start, but she cuts me off. Don't Miss Rita me. Tell me something. They still got that man back there? He's pretty old by now, but he spends most of his time hunting squirrel in the woods. Miss Rita, that describes about half the men in Grand Prairie. Oh, I know that. Come on, boy, you're smart. Think about their names. There's one of those names that sticks out. Part of me wonders how she could possibly know any of the old coots back there, but I start listing out the names in my head. Earl, Butch LaFleur, Lim Landry, Tichu Vidrine, Harold Fontenot, Poot Arsenault. Then I have it. Noose? That's a funny name, huh, she says. I'm sure it's just a name, Miss Rita. Yeah, you sure? That's an odd name just to get, and it's certainly no mom's gonna name her baby that, even if he's in the clan. Noose? That one or two times I've talked to him, he seemed like a nice, quiet old man. They might have drawn up their truce a long time ago, she says, but if black people staying out of a town, there's always a reason for it. It might be safe now, and I'm sure confession ain't exciting as it used to be. Should I even ask about anything else? Not if you want to look those people in the eyes every Sunday. She pauses. But I'll eat their food anyway. They still know how to cook. I think she might even get more pleasure out of it knowing that it was prepared by an old white lady who's never had a black foot step across her threshold. So, she says after taking a nip from her Crown Royal bottle, what about that old priest's little girl? She should be about your age. How do you know about Vicky? I ask. Steve, everybody but the Pope knew about that child. Vicky, huh? That's her name. That's a nice name. She pretty? Stop it. You didn't answer my question, Steve. Yeah, sure, she's pretty. You happy? Well, I'd be a lot happier if you started, well, you know. Oh, dear Lord, I say in exasperation. Well, you're not supposed to talk like that. Well, it'd be a lot easier if I didn't have you driving me crazy all the time. She says. Seems to me if you don't want to be driven crazy, you could find someplace else to hang out. Believe it or not, you're not the only thing driving me crazy, Miss Rita, I say. Oh yeah, that Vicky girl getting after you? This time I just stare at her, refusing to say anything. Fine then, she says, denying old lady her dreams. Now go on, tell me what's the matter this time. I tell her about Brother Paul and the Pentecostal invaders, that I'm worried about him coming after my flock. I heard about that man, she says. You have? Oh yeah, they talk about him all over town. He started out as a Baptist, but kept butting heads with the people that ran that show, so he jumped to Pentecostal. So he's not all that great, I say. Oh, he is. When he went Pentecostal, he took about 100 Baptists with him. They say when that man talks, ladies start fainting in the church. I heard him on the radio a few times. That man got a silver tongue. I could practically feel the Holy Ghost coming into the room. I guess he made himself too popular for the Pentecostals too, because they run him off. Either that or he just took off, but he took his 100 Baptists, and he took another 100 Pentecostals. So wait, he's not Pentecostal? I don't know what he is, she says. I guess he can call himself Pentecostal. It's not like there's a Pentecostal Pope going to go out there and tell him to stop. So he doesn't answer to anybody. Nope, just himself and the Lord. Great. Now what am I supposed to do? He's building a 600-person church up there. And he'd probably stick in a community center in a bowling alley or something too, she says. Shit, I say. Hey, she says, you know better than to talk like that around me. Sorry, I say. She falls silent for a moment, giving my problem serious thought. She sucks on her bottom lip while she thinks. Finally, she speaks. You know what you need? You need you a fair. A festival or something. What? Yeah, something to keep your people busy with the church so they don't go running off to his. You gotta give them more than a talking to on Sunday mornings, and the good Lord knows you ain't offering them Holy Ghost. So give them some work to do. Show them a good time. In Grand Prairie? I ask, as if this is a remotely realistic idea. If them boys and plaisons can fill a soybean field with all them people on the hottest day of the year for the Zydeco Festival, you ought to be able to do something with the space you got. You know people around here just looking for an excuse to get drunk and have a good time. You get them drunk and playing some good music, they might remember all them things the Pentecostals don't let you do. I don't know. That sounds like a lot of work, Miss Rita. And that's a bad thing? Work keeps a man out of trouble, and trouble sounds like the direction you're heading in. Well, just be sure you have it in the fall after things cool down, she says. I don't know if I can wait that long, I say. He's already building a town back there. Well, you can't do it in the summer. Somebody's gonna catch a heat stroke and die. Guess you better make it in the spring, right after Easter, when everybody had it up to here with being holy. They want to let loose after Lent. I look at her. She takes a sip out of her bottle of whiskey. What? She asks, pleased with herself. This next scene, he's sitting with Vicky, who is, I forgot to mention, the daughter of the previous priest, the whole different story. Vicky's clearing the table after feeding me her version of shepherd's pie. Instant mashed potatoes spread over ground beef. You can pretend to be a drunken Irish priest, she told me when she served it. Now she's telling me that my mother must have dropped me on my head when I was a child. A festival, Steve? You've got to be kidding me. I follow her out to the patio, beer in hand, protesting along the way. The truth is, I do need something to focus on, something to occupy my time. There'll be something to do, I say. Bring people to Grand Prairie. But why? It's not like we even have stores here to draw business to. I tell her about BP, that I'm worried he's going to start raiding the flock. Steve, you're being ridiculous, she tells me. You think this guy will build his church and suddenly everybody's going to abandon St. Peter's and rush over there. You're being paranoid. I'm pretty sure these old people in Grand Prairie are set in their ways. You haven't met this guy, I say. He's smooth. Smooth? Yeah, smooth. He could probably talk you out of your pants. Is that right, she says, shooting me a look I can't quite translate. Look, I don't know, I say. I'm just trying to figure out a way to build a community. A festival seems like a good idea. Besides, it would be fun. Steve, she says. Vicky, I say. Steve, she says. I play my trump card, and it's an excuse to drink. She shrugs. Well, I can't argue with that. We sit silent in lawn chairs. November is having another one of its Louisiana warm fits, and it feels like spring. Vicky lights cigarettes for each of us. The patch of field directly in front of us rustles to life, and a scrawny rabbit hops onto the back lawn. Well, there you go, she says. There I go what? The name of your festival. Really? I don't know. Rabbit Festival just doesn't strike me as all that inspiring. Well, everything else is taken, she says. Jazz, Zydeco, cotton, crawfish, crackling, smoked meat, sausage, strawberry, watermelon, rice. I mean the Wagon Wheel Festival, Steve. Come on. I guess you're right, I say. Damn right I'm right. There you go. Rabbit Festival. Better yet, Le Festival de la Pain, or some French crap like that. It's not poetry, but it sounds a little more legit than Rabbit Festival. Then again, Rabbit Festival has a certain simple charm about it, and I can spell it without a problem. Well, I say, we can't turn back now. We, she says. Yep, we got 5.5 months to make this baby. We, she says again. Yep, you named it. You can't abandon it now. You have any idea what's involved in this sort of thing, Steve, she says. Not at all, I say. Not a single little clue. She wings her bottle cap at the rabbit, sending it off in a brown blur. You're going to owe me big for this, she says. And that's it. I don't know if it's customary to take questions.
You certainly have.
If anybody has questions, shoot them out. If not, we can take a break, cool down. Questions? Anybody has questions? Questions? It's just like class. You get extra points if you ask questions. All right. Thank y'all for paying attention. Have a good night.
I have one question. Are you from here?
Yeah, I'm from Opelousas.
All right.
Class 91. Let's see. Anything else? All right, cool.
Okay, we'll take a short break and encourage you to patronize our hosts here, buy something that would be nice, and when we come back, it'll be time for the open mic. Where's the list? Is it over there? Has everybody had a shot at the list? No. Okay, well, somehow there must be a meeting. Y'all need to get together, all right? Okay, go ahead and take, like I said, take 5-10 minutes, and then we'll begin the open mic, and I'll need to add some ground rules before I let you get up here. So we'll cover that in a few minutes. The first 6 people performing tonight, each will receive a pre-read book. So apparently, I've been charged to distribute the book. So, but I'll consult with you. I'm not going to be completely domineering. So, all right. Well, I think that this is about it. I'm going to try to pronounce your names as well as I can and read them as well as I can. But let's go ahead and begin. Our first reader of the evening is Michaela Simpson. Is there a Michaela Simpson? What? Michaela Simpson.
Pockets of posy. Ring around the rosy, a pocket full of posy. Ashes, ashes, they all fall down. Down they fell as their innocence hit the ground, followed by screams and frantic sounds. Mothers pleading to God, please don't take my baby now, with their hearts and their feet beating bloody grounds. But these are the things that you don't see, suddenly aired on MTV. And the news never catches bullets flying, no NBC to document the casualties of children dying. But I know and my heart breaks every time I have to see another child's face. Our youth is fastly fading away, and it's no longer Prom and Raheem and them. It's also Sarah, Becky, Paul, and Tim. Hate is like AIDS, the way that it spreads, and it's always too late when another child is dead. Swinging only by the force of wind, longing for laughter and playful children, searching for the sounds of tag being played instead of the smell of fresh flowers being laid. But we are oblivious, not concerned, because it's not in this town. It's not our problem, so why should we frown? You're sadly mistaken because this world is much too large. What's going on in their neighborhoods is also in our backyards. If violence is what the youth is eating, when they defecate, don't complain because we never stop feeding. It's time we let children be children again, stop forcing fatherless boys to pretend as men. Maybe if we accepted accountability of our actions, we can demolish hate and replace it with passion. The lives is something worth fighting for. Why can't we fight for them when we're spending billions on somebody else's war? Time is flying and everyone's trying to grasp it, and we're changing for the worse. No need to mask it. Our future's dying, resting in premature caskets. This is not a hood problem or the other side of town problem, across the tracks problem. No, this is my problem. This is your problem. This is our nation's problem. The Bible warns, daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. Weep for yourselves and your children. Our children are being stole from us while we're standing here looking. And another's child's song has just gone silent. Bring around the rosy. Thank you. Okay, this one is from my book called Behind Closed Eyes. It's called Labor Pains. Doesn't everybody like a beautiful piece of art, one drawn with the colors of the heart? Instead of a paintbrush, I have an ink pen. Listen closely as my painting begins. One man pacing back and forth, talking to her friends, stomach swollen from the life growing within. Sharp pain makes her stop in her tracks. Tightness as she begins to contract. Now they're rushing, running, grabbing bags. Time is moving forward, it's never turning back. As they load up the vehicle and start on their way, she tilts her head back, closed her eyes, and visited a yester place. A yester place where yesterdays were filled with hard work and seldom any play. Where it seemed that her dreams were so very far away, but yet so close she could always taste the sweetness of them, kind of like her grandmother's pies. A slice of paradise tucked between two white flies. That's where she kept him, in the back of her head. Every night as she prayed on the side of her bed. Dear Lord, and he heard every word she prayed. He kept building her wings stronger until she could fly away. The door opens. Ma'am, are you okay? Her eyes open. Yes, I've been waiting for this day. Forever, never really is that far away. It was even closer as they rode her down the hospital's hallways. Once in the room, they got her IV going. Checked her vitals, got the Demerol rolling. Contractions growing closer and closer. Her friends seeing her in pain, not knowing how to console her. She's turning to her left and then back to her right, clinging to the rail, holding on for dear life. The doctors checked her. She's only 5 centimeters, 5 more to go before he's a front seater. Before he exits the door, she begins to overflow. Her waters come rushing like waves against African shores. The time is now, the wait is no more. Anticipation consumes the room. The silence is as loud as in King Tut's tomb. But in the queen's room, the most sacred fruit has ripened to the point that it must bloom. Her thighs are shaking, nails digging deeper, cries filling to the ceiling to her soul's keeper. The doctor says push, and she pushes with all of her might. This has been the moment she's been waiting for all of her might. And it looks like heaven has opened its skies as that slice of paradise slowly begins to arrive. Deep breath, and she pushes again. Push with everything she's holding within, with every tear that she's cried, everything that she's believed, every battle that she's fought, all of her heartbeats. It's a perfect delivery, and you, my friends, have witnessed the birth of a dream. Thank you.
All right, let's see. Next up, we have, I don't even need this mic. Randy Aguilar. Where's Randy?
Had a job, I was working with a company. Had stock in a 401k, and I dreamed of a pot of gold over the rainbow, a pie in the sky someday. Tonight I went astray. I went astray. I was taught to walk the straight and narrow, not to lead, but how to follow. To follow the path of least resistance, to follow the rules and take no chances. Then I went astray. I went astray. I don't know where I'm going. I'm living on a gut feeling, and free is how I'm living. Now that I went astray. I went astray.
This is the end of the evening, so it's time for the line poem. So let's see how y'all did, okay? All right. Who let the dogs out? Your mom. It's a break check after going 100. Like touching like touching ground after reaching the top. Like lying on the ceiling. Too bad the floor's all the way down there. Who said the floor was down there? What happened to the dogs? I miss the dogs. Forget the dogs. Our adventure starts deep inside a forest where demons dwell. Cackled the old witch as she stirred. Satisfaction! Like chocolate cake as... like chocolate cake as... what the hell? Awakens, like chocolate cake as... Awakens your tongue? Look, I gotta read what's written down here. Festival! Festival! Why are you in there? Or what have you? So on and so forth. Whatever. The witch's land... The witch's lord touches the canine's cancer. And the dogs are mourned in the passing. For God so loved the world. That's it, y'all. Thanks for coming out. Remember, again, we'll be back here on the 18th of November, Thursday, for Poet Laureate Darrell Moore. Be careful, and see you next time.